Yo, what's up guys, it's NLW here, back again with another video. Today, I know that Survivor Series is coming around the corner with Raw versus SmackDown, but in this video, I'm going to be fantasy booking my very own NLW Survivor Series card. And I've got a lot of requests to do an NLW versus Metal brand warfare kind of pay-per-view, and I was actually planning on it, but I wanted to take a break, so the schedule changed a little bit in time, but that's not to say I won't do a brand versus brand pay-per-view in the future. For now though, in this video, I will be looking at the rosters for both NLW and Metal as they currently stand, and booking the best card I can for NLW versus Metal Survivor Series matches, ultimately seeing who would win out in the end, NLW or Metal. But before we get into it, drop a like on the video and comment what you think of the card I'm about to show you, and also what changes you'd make. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's kick things off with the main honchos of each brand, Commissioner versus Commissioner. I know that Kevin Owens isn't the Commissioner of Metal anymore, but assuming he might still be, Kevin Owens going one-on-one with Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Commissioner for NLW. I know in WWE they had Eric Bischoff versus Teddy Long, but this, I think, will probably blow that out of the water. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Texas Rattlesnake, and the man who took the stunner from Austin, Kevin Owens. Owens has been brutal on NLW Metal. He had that brutal no-holds-barred match with Samoa Joe. Although he lost, he looked good in defeat, and I'm telling you, Kevin Owens will take the fight to Stone Cold Steve Austin, but Austin, they say, don't trust Austin, don't trust anyone, he will hit you with a stunner from out of nowhere. So in this one, I don't know what I would say. I reckon Kevin Owens may have the edge if this were to happen in NLW, but I don't know. Who would you pick? Which do you think is the better commissioner? Next up, a champion versus champion match. We have the X Division champion Ricochet going one-on-one with Metal's Intercontinental champion Sami Zayn. Now for Sami Zayn, he's got a slight advantage in the fact that he's not restricted to just one style of wrestling. Of course, you've got Ricochet as the head of the X Division. He is in his own little weight class there. Sami Zayn, though, is kind of a more broad weight class, fighting the likes of Chris Jericho, Cody and others. Ricochet, though, he has had some bangers in the past. In fact, he's got a cracking match at Enter the Dragon coming up against Rey Mysterio. So I don't know how I'd book this one. To be honest, I'd probably give it to Metal again. I think Sami Zayn would have the advantage in this one. Although Ricochet will take a lot more risks, Sami Zayn is a much more grounded competitor, and if he keeps his feet to the ground, lets Ricochet make a mistake, I think Sami Zayn can win this matchup, and also based on the lineage of the Intercontinental title, I think Sami Zayn just edges it. Next up, a dream tag team match, The Elite versus the Balor Club. You got Kenny Omega and the NLW tag team champions, the Young Bucks, going up against the team of Finn Balor, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Now this is a tricky one to predict. On Metal, the Balor Club are very established as an act. The Elite haven't really come into contact with each other, bar recently when Omega tried to help the Young Bucks after they were assaulted in the back. So the chemistry, probably on the Balor Club side. Although for pure athleticism and excitement, you've got to go with the Elite. I actually had a match similar to this back at WrestleMania 3 when it was Balor, Gallows and Anderson against the Young Bucks and AJ Styles. On that occasion, the Balor Club won, but with Kenny Omega in his feud with The Undertaker, he's really stepped up his game in NLW, so for that reason, I would have to say I'll pick the Elite, especially now they got tag team gold in their camp to beat the Balor Club. More faction warfare up next, as we've got NLW's Undisputed Era, that's Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, taking on Metal's Four Horsemen, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Cody Rhodes and Hangman Page. Now I know that dissension has been teased, and by the time this video goes out, they may have already split up, I'm not sure. But let's assume they are still together, both factions going at each other. Undisputed Era on NLW, they've been laying waste to everyone, including John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Four Horsemen as well, they took out Roman Reigns, so they both have very strong hit lists. I think the fact that all four of the Undisputed Era are current full-time wrestlers, and the Four Horsemen, you got Ric Flair, who has wrestled in NLW, he's even beaten Roman Reigns on a Metal pay-per-view. But I think the longevity of the Four Horsemen, as good as that is, the fact that the Undisputed Era are fighting night in, night out, and they've taken out John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So for this matchup, I'm predicting the Undisputed Era are going to win. Next up, a little fun fantasy one-on-one match that I was thinking of. You know, I had these originally slated for the Survivor Series matches, but I thought this could be a match all on its own. You got Pacc, the Bastard, going one-on-one with the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne from Metal. Both Brits, very different styles. Pacc, although he is quite a high-flying wrestler, he is very gritty. And you want to talk about gritty, I don't think there's any wrestler out there today grittier than the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne will manipulate the fingers of Pacc, but Pacc may just do whatever it takes. He'll cheat, he'll try and get the upper hand, and this is a very tough one to predict. I think, though, Pacc may get frustrated, and that could be his undoing. I think Pete Dunne will have a cool head about him, will hit the bitter end, and defeat Pacc. So for this matchup, I would predict that Pacc would succumb to Pete Dunne, but on another night, I may think differently. Next up, we got women's action. It's a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. For Team NLW, you've got the baddest women on the planet, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Lita, and Sasha Banks going up against Metal's team of the women's champion Ember Moon, Rosemary, Nia Jax, Trish Stratus, and Natalya. For this one, I have to say that NLW would probably win, despite the fact that Ember Moon is such a strong women's champion, and Trish Stratus, the legend, and of course, the power of Nia Jax, but the NLW women's roster at the moment is stacked, and I was originally going to put Nikki Cross in this, but I thought I'd put Lita in there. And looking at it on paper, it kind of reminds me that I should probably bump up the women's division on Metal soon, which I am planning on doing, by the way, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I think NLW has the edge. You know, you got Rousey, you got Lynch, who's just come back as well, Bayley, Lita as well, who's just come back, and Sasha. And I think the Metal team, you know, Ember Moon would eliminate a few of the members of NLW, but I think ultimately they're a much stronger team. But that's just the nature of it, you know. I'll flip things over in the draft when I do a proper draft in the new year. So I'll mix up some of the rosters, some of the women's rosters. But as things stand right now, I think the NLW women will probably edge out the Metal women. Next up, a champion versus champion match. The world champions collide as NLW world champion Daniel Bryan takes on metalweight champion Tetsuya Naito. Let's just address how they both won their respective titles. Tetsuya Naito cashed in Money in the Bank. He defeated Samoa Joe at the Royal Rumble, then went on to defend it in a triple threat, defended against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, and also defended it against Samoa Joe. However, you know, there were some shenanigans in that matchup. Daniel Bryan, on the other hand, won a fantastic triple threat match at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura, went on to defeat Jeff Hardy. Seth Rollins again went on to defeat Pacc, and now he's in a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, and they're going to have a last man standing match at Enter the Dragon. As to who would win this matchup, I'm not quite sure. I think Naito is sneaky, and he will do whatever it takes to win. He's also very cocky, so that could cost him. I think Daniel Bryan, though, you know what, I think Daniel Bryan could win this one, but if Naito were to beat Bryan, it wouldn't be that much of a shock. He is a very talented wrestler in his own right, but I think the role that Daniel Bryan's been on as of late, not really been pinned since before WrestleMania, I think Daniel Bryan would win this matchup. And finally, we've got the Pista Resistance, the main event of my Survivor Series, my fancy booking Survivor Series, 5-on-5 elimination match. You have Team NLW consisting of Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, and The Undertaker, going up against Metal's team of AJ Styles, Jon Moxley, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, and Drew McIntyre. Originally, I was slating Samoa Joe to be put in this matchup, but if you've seen Metal recently, he has been suspended by the commissioner, so technically, as things stand right now, he wouldn't be eligible for this match. That is why I have crafted this team, and this one is probably the toughest of all the matches to boot. I pride myself on making sure the rosters are even, and although Metal was kind of the red-headed stepchild of the NLW kind of channel, so I wanted to boost some star power into it. That's why you got Drew McIntyre coming back, Jon Moxley coming back, and also with the draft, things will shake up in the new year. But as things stand right now, you know what, I'm not sure. I think Rey Mysterio is the weak link just based on the size of the opposite team, although he has got that agility about him. And the same with Jeff Hardy, especially with his cocky attitude as of late. Maybe that'll cost him, I don't know. And the same with Shinsuke Nakamura, you know. I don't know if the Team NLW will work as well together as Team Metal, although you've got Jon Moxley and Kurt Angle feuding currently on Metal. I think Moxley could win out over Rollins if they were paired off together. I think Nakamura could pair off against AJ Styles and beat him. Angle and Hardy, I think Angle might have the edge, but Jeff Hardy, you never know. He could sneak it. I think Jericho could beat Rey, but then again, maybe not. Rey could beat Jericho, and the same with The Undertaker and McIntyre. I would say, for this one, might be a controversial pick, but I'm saying Metal for the win, because they have Drew McIntyre. He's a beast. Jericho's a legend as well. Angle, he brings the intensity. Moxley's on a roll. And AJ Styles, he's the phenomenal one. I don't know if there was a storyline in place that Jeff Hardy, with his cocky attitude, The Undertaker as well, he could get himself disqualified, you never know. And the same with Seth Rollins and Nakamura, they've been at each other's throats on NLW before, I don't think they'd be getting along. So for that reason, I am choosing Team Metal to win the Survivor Series match. And there you have it. I haven't been counting up who's winning each match, so I don't know who wins out in the end. But on the whole, it seems like things are pretty even. NLW has some strong matches and some strong wrestlers, but Metal as well has some beef to it as well, so I'll call it a tie. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below what matches you would like to see if there were a Fantasy Survivor Series NLW versus Metal. What wrestlers would you pair off to fight each other? And also, what do you think of my predictions? Do you think differently to me? Do you think that the wrestlers I've chosen are wrong? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, especially considering it could help me book a future Survivor Series match between NLW and Metal. No spoilers, just saying. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, smash that like button, and if you're not yet already, subscribe as we're trying to edge closer to 30,000 subs, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, leave your comments on what you would like to see if there were a Fantasy NLW vs Metal pay-per-view. Be really interested to hear your thoughts, and who knows, maybe one day there will be an NLW vs Metal Survivor Series match. We'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys later.